Hi everybody, so in this video we are going to discuss Finance Commission. This is going to be the fourth video on our discussion in series of Indian constitutional bodies. Prior to this we already have delivered lectures on Election Commission, then we discussed UPSC and then we discussed State Public Service Commission. So this is the fourth constitutional body that we are having discussion on as part of our discussion on Indian polity. Prior to that we already have covered all the chapters related to Indian polity. So I hope all the lectures you already would have watched. Now without wasting time, let us enter into this slide and let us start seeing that what is going to be scope of this particular video, how we are going to cover this Finance Commission. So as has been our tradition that we, before discussing any topic, we discuss what and why aspect of that body or that topic. So as always we'll discuss what is this Finance Commission and why Finance Commission as a body has been created, what is the role, what is the function of Finance Commission, that and why it has been, why this Finance Commission is such an important body that it has been granted this constitutional status. So that we'll discuss into the first leg of this video. Then we'll discuss the provisions of the Finance Commission or provisions of Article 280, because it is the Article 280 that discusses everything about the Finance Commission, be it the purpose of Finance Commission, be it appointing authority, be it function, be it role, right, be it devolution criteria, right, be it terms of reference. So all those things has been mentioned into article in this single article, that is Article 280. So we'll discuss in detail the provisions of Article 280. Then we'll discuss the structure of Finance Commission, whether this Finance Commission is a single member body or a multi-member body. Thereafter we'll discuss the criteria that is taken into consideration by Finance Commission while deciding the devolution principles of. So the major job of this Finance Commission or the role of this Finance Commission is to lay down the guidelines, to lay down the principles on which this union is going to devolve the fund to the state, or union is going to grant fund to the state or local body. That is the major role of Union Finance Commission that has been envisioned into the constitution. So that we'll discuss, and that whatever criteria that we'll discuss, we'll put up this 15th Finance Commission recommendation and 15th finance, what criteria that they have taken into account. Although we'll see the criteria that has been taken into account by 14th Finance Commission as well, and we, on one particular slide we'll compare the criteria that was taken by the 14th Finance Commission and what changes this 15th Finance Commission has taken into account, what has been changes, how weightage to particular parameter that was taken into account by 14th Finance Commission has changed into 15th Finance Commission, what are the new parameter that this 15th Finance Commission has taken into account, how the population parameter weightage had changed from the previous, how this until now, until 14th Finance Commission, it was the 1971 population which was being taken into criteria while deciding the formula for this devolution of funds to the state. How for the first time, not first time, last time as well in 14th Finance Commission as well, 2011 population criteria had been given weightage, but 1971 population had also been taken into account. This is the first time that only 2011 population has been taken into criteria. So all these aspects we'll look into. So I hope enough of the introduction or enough of the layout that we are going into. So without wasting time, and in the last leg of this video there are four MCQ that is waiting for you to be attempted. You are expected to attempt these 4 MCQ and then only we'll end this lecture, right? So without wasting time, let us enter into this slide and let us start with the first leg of this video, that is what is this Finance Commission, and whatever definition that we'll drive here of the Finance Commission on this particular slide. See, without understanding whole of the lecture, without understanding the role of this Finance Commission, it won't be wise to give you an exact definition of Finance Commission. So whatever definition that we'll drive of the Finance Commission on this particular slide, that definition will be a crude definition. It is only when we have all the discussion on this Finance Commission, thereafter I'll leave it to you to decide what actually is the role of the Finance Commission and what should be the exact definition of Finance Commission. So Finance Commission, first of all, is a constitutional body. Let us be clear on this, because what is this constitutional body, what is this statutory body, what is this executive body, we already have discussed into the Election Commission's lecture. So I hope you need not to have an explanation or that what is this constitutional body. So let us be clear on this fact that because it is mentioned directly into the constitution, so it is going to be a constitutional body. So there is no debate on that factor, I hope, right? So it is going to be a constitutional body. Now in the crude format, if I tell you the role, so the role of Finance Commission is to evaluate. Listen this carefully. The role of Finance Commission is to evaluate the state of finances of union and state of finances of these states. That what is the level, in what financial state these states are and in what financial state this union right now. And thereafter it will issue a formula on which union will devolve fund to these states. So that is the crude definition of what is this Finance Commission and what is its role. Again, I am saying that we'll get into nuances, and with getting into nuances, the definition, the rational definition or the definition about the Finance Commission that you should write into the mains once we have discussed the role of the Finance Commission, and once we are over with this particular topic, perhaps then you will be in right position to understand what is this Finance Commission. So as of now, whatever has been written here on the slide, to evaluate state of finance of both union and state, and to lay down the principles determining sharing of revenue of union to state. So they'll lay down, they'll assess, this Finance Commission will assess that what finances are lying at the disposal of union, what is their status of consolidated fund of India, how much funds there is lying into the consolidated fund of India. Now what is the position of states, various states consolidated, what position they are in, and thereafter it will give a formula to the union that okay, now this is going to be the formula on which you will devolve. And now why union needs to devolve this fund to the state, why state cannot give funds to the union, so that part we'll discuss into the why aspect of Finance Commission. So I hope you have clarity on the what aspect of Finance Commission, that what is the Finance Commission. Now we are entering into the next slide to discuss why the Finance Commission, why there is necessity of Finance Commission, or why there is necessity of transferring this fund from the union to state. Why not state to union? Why not this transfer is going to be bidirectional? Why this transfer of fund is only from union to state? So let us enter into next slide and let us start discussing that why Finance Commission. Now on this slide, let us discuss why Finance Commission, or let us try to answer the question that I had raised into the previous slide. Into the previous slide, if you remember, I had raised a question that Finance Commission, the role of Finance Commission is to decide a formula on which union will transfer funds to the state. Now let us try to understand that why only union need to transfer the fund. Why can't state also transfer the funds to the union? Now, if you have studied into the economics, the economic relationship between, or the taxation relationship between union and state, you would be knowing that there is skewed relationship between union and state, the skewed financial relationship I am talking about, where union does have more power of the taxation, union does have been given more taxation power, it does have more areas in which it can tax people, it can tax more areas, while state does have limited power or the limited jurisdiction into the taxation. What are the areas or what are the fields in which state can apply tax? So state can take land tax, state can take or state can charge land revenue, stamp tax, agriculture tax, professional tax, or tax on alcohol, electricity, tax on electricity bill. So those kind of taxation state can charge. But have you noticed that state generally, most of the state does not charge any, although they do have power to tax this agriculture, but for the populist reason, or for the reason that our agriculture, more than 50% of the people are still employed into this agriculture. So in these kind of, and the state of agriculture you already would have studied into this economics, right? So in the kind of state that our agriculture, most of the state has not been able to tax at least this area. Then land revenue, there is not much income from this land revenue. The only source that remains at the disposal, or only major source that remains at the disposal of the state, is this alcohol. Many people were criticizing the decision of the various government into the time of corona, when this lockdown was being opened, or even when this lockdown was there, right? Various state government were allowed to open this alcohol, and there was much criticism that you are not opening educational institution, you are not opening market, you are not opening these malls, you are not opening other sectors, but one vicious thing that you have opened is this alcohol. But try to understand that it is the economy that plays a role into what decision the government. So as I already I have told you, that is the alcohol which is the largest revenue generated to the states, various states. And that's why you would notice, because for 50 or 55 days, whatever number of days that this lockdown was in operation, state did not have any income. Now when you do not have any income, you have to spend money onto the migrants, you have to spend money on various welfare mechanism, you require money, right? And the largest source of money was this alcohol, the tax on alcohol. And that's why this necessity compelled various states to set aside this morality, to set aside the moral values, social values, and open this institution, at least this institution of alcohol. And I'm respectfully saying this institution of alcohol, although I should not be so much respectful about at least this profession. But again, this is the economy, this economy of the various state is being run on this particular thing. So my point is that state does not have many sources of taxation, while on the union side, if you notice, union does have many sources of taxation. It does have excise, it can charge manufacturing institution, although GST has taken place, but there are many areas still where excise is still charged. Then you have this service tax, GST, custom, then corporation tax, income tax, so these kind of taxes. So the kitty of this union government or the kitty of Consolidated Fund of India will be way larger than the kitty of states. So state does have more amount of developmental responsibility. It is directly the state government which are directly connected to the people, and it is the state government which is often asked questions, which is often held accountable, right? And it is for this reason, be it education, be it hospital, be it any kind of developmental responsibility, it is the state government which is asked question directly. And it is in this circumstances, because union does have more taxation power, and state which are directly responsible to the people, right, they do not have that much. They do have more of amount of developmental responsibilities, but they do have less power of taxation. So it is for this reason, considering this reason, that you do have role of finance commission coming to the picture. Finance commission as a constitutional body will come into the picture, and they will determine the formula that yes, because you do have more money, you do have lesser amount of responsibility, so you devolve this fund to the state. But what should be the what amount this Bihar will get, what amount Tamil Nadu will get, there should be some equitable formula, right? You can't decide this financial formula from one yardstick. There should be equitable formula, and it is in deciding that equitable formula, because if states like Tamil Nadu, if states like Maharashtra, if they are earning more, if they do have more amount of more number of industry, if they are located into the coastal, if there is one state which is landlocked, which does not have, and they do not have skilled manpower as well, they do not have, there is huge amount of illiteracy in that state as well. So towards that state, you will have to, as a finance commission, you will have to take compassionate angle on those states which are industrialized, which are located into the coastal, which does have more what you call job opportunity, employment opportunity, the people are literate. Towards that state you can be little कि भाई ठीक है, तुम अपना काम करो थोड़ा सा, है ना, हमें इन स्टेट्स पे ध्यान देने दो. So the equitable formula that I was talking about, so this equitable formula this finance commission comes with, and then with that equitable formula, union is going to devolve the funds to these states. So that is the role of this finance commission. And why constitutional status? Because when any body is doing such an important job, right? So if it is an executive body, then it will be influenced by the consideration, the meaning, whole meaning of, or whole purpose of granting the constitutional status to any body is to provide some amount of autonomy. If you have provided election commission or UPSC or state public service commission, these kind of institution, if they are have been given constitutional status, it is not the constitutional status but the accompanying autonomy that is provided, the security of tenure or the removal method, difficult removal method or difficult service condition that comes along with this constitutional status, that ensures the autonomy of this body, and that ensures that this body conducts free and fair elections. So that is the reason why to these kind of important institutions constitutional status is provided, so that the respect or the autonomy that these bodies should get, right? Otherwise, again, if it is a statutory body, if it is an executive body, making changes into their service condition, making changes into their organizational status, making changes to their flow of funds, right, that can be stopped by the executive, and that will compromise their autonomy in their functioning. That's why the constitutional status, because this body is going to be such an important body that is going to decide, that is going to determine the formula for transfer of money. It might be, if it is an executive body, it might be that the center, ruling party at the center might arm twist and can suggest it to design a formula whereby the same ruling, the states they are ruling might get more amount of funds than the state that is being ruled by the opposition. So that is the purpose of granting. I hope you will have now an idea that what is the role of this finance commission and why it has been given constitutional status, why executive body cannot do or cannot perform the what you call the same function. You had this planning commission. Rather, one criticism or of this planning commission was that at one point of time this planning commission was dwarfing the role of this finance commission. This happens to this planning commission happened to be this executive body, and more amount of fund was being diverted to the state through the recommendation of this planning commission, executive body, than this financial commission. So at that time there was more amount of criticism. That was the reason that it was disbanded in 2014, because various state government that were being ruled by the opposition party, they were very much irritated by the role of the planning commission. This planning commission was envisioned by our first prime minister, and it has been in existence since then. And after that, means after 1970, if you see the role of this planning commission, the role of this planning commission was all about controlling various states that were being ruled by the opposition through stopping or giving flow of or ensuring good flow of finances. If you are, means does not matter which party is ruling that particular state, if you are following our guidelines, if you are following the path that we want as a ruling party into the center, if you are supporting us in the voting into the parliament in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, then we will recommend planning commission to give you good flow of finances. But if you are completely on bad terms with us, then we will not supply you the money. So that was the role of this planning commission as an executive body. And as I already told you, that at one point of time for around 20 to 30 years there was this criticism that finance commission, which was a constitutional, their recommendation were being ignored. The funds that they were recommending, that much fund was not being given to all the state, or whatever formula that they were deciding, those formulas were being ignored at times, and this body this executive body was being given more importance, and that's why it was abolished. So I hope you will have clarity now on this role of this finance commission and why it has been given constitutional status. Now, without wasting much time, we are moving to the next slide. So this is going to be the life cycle of finance commission. First, it will be appointed, this commission, each member of this commission will be appointed by the president. Thereafter, president will define the term of reference. What is this term of reference? So term of reference is nothing but the condition or the questions that president will define, and on those questions this finance commission will have research. When I am saying research, so see, the job of the major role of the primary role of finance commission, we already know that it has to lay down the principle, it has to lay down that formula on which, following which this union is going to transfer this or grant or provide grant in fund to the state or the local bodies. Besides that, besides this basic term of reference, so this is nothing but the term of reference. Besides this basic term of reference, President may ask this Finance Commission that, hey, can you study this thing as well? So they can ask that whatever formula that you are going to decide, you have to decide it in light of new economic reality. What are the new economic reality? So in last 5 years, this government has implemented this GST. So might be that GST may have impacted Consolidated Fund of India, right? Their kitty, the bucket, the financial bucket that this union does have. By the implementation of this GST, they may have some reduced flow of fund. It might ask that, hey, we do have economic activities are down. Hey, Finance Commission, can you consider this subdued economic activities as well? We had this demonetization. After demonetization, we had reduced flow of funds. So can you consider that as well? Then other part of term, and I'm talking about what is this term of reference. So these are nothing but these are term of references, that whatever study, whatever formula that you are going to come up with, and whatever, because we will have to consider the formula that you are going to come up with, right? We'll have to respect that formula. So do one thing, while deciding this formula, you need not to come with any such realistic unrealistic recommendation that we may perhaps not be able to consider that formula, or we have to tweak that formula drastically. So because union would not like so they would define it. Although Finance Commission has been given autonomy that they might not consider all the suggestion that has been given to the, although they will study all those recommendations, but they have that autonomy that at times they can give unfavorable or the kind of recommendation that they can give. It may not make this union happy, but at the end of the day, although this recommendation of this Finance Commission is always advisory in nature, it is not binding on the president, or it is not binding on the union, but a healthy practice has been developed where all successive governments have mostly, I am saying mostly, not all the time, mostly considered the recommendation, mostly agreed to whatever recommendation that this Finance Commission as a constitutional bodies has given. But president, while appointing this commission, one caution that president, and when I am saying president, not the president but Council of Ministers, this caution is taken by this union government that they already give these kind of guidelines that whatever formula that you are going to come up with, right, take these kind of consideration, take the newer responsibilities. So this time you will notice that when we will discuss the term of reference, you will notice that it has said that whatever formula that you are going to come up with, so you take care of this new 2022 vision that we have taken for a new India. So under new India vision, right, union government have launched various kind of developmental scheme, various kind of reform measure they have taken, and those kind of developmental scheme or economic reform measures that they have taken as part of new India, it is really impacting the flow of funds into the kitty of Consolidated Fund of India, right? So those kind of caution or those kind of terms of references president can give while appointing this commission. So this is the term of reference. So after president has defined the term of reference, the commission will study those term of references. At that time, it will have the meeting with various stakeholders. You will notice that as soon this Finance Commission will start working, as soon they will be appointed, there will be a statement from various political parties, there will be a statement from various state government that state of our finances is very poor, we have taken so and so economic reform, we are persuading these kind of public health measures, right, we have invested so much into these kind of reforms. So the major indication of the various state government or various political party is to influence their formula design, right? Some states, southern state will say that no, population should not be given, population of 2000 double. So this is also going to be a sticky point. This Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission, has given weightage to the 2011 population. You will notice that as soon, if you go back to the newspaper and read the current affair, as soon 15th Finance Commission had been appointed and 15th Finance Commission had given indication that we are going to consider 2011 population as and we are going to give more weightage to this 2011 population. There was this shouting started from TDP at that time was in power in Andhra Pradesh, and then other southern party as well, that what about our population control measure? In last 30 years, 25 or 30 years, we have taken various population control measure. Now if you are going to give weightage to the population, so UP, Bihar, this Bimaru state, now this Bimaru state, these kind of words you should not be writing into the means Bimaru state, but this was a terminology that was used in reference to the states like Bihar, in reference to the state like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and these Rajasthan. So these states were called, and UP. So these states were called Bimaru states earlier. So these states did not do much on this population control measures. So their point, the southern states point was that if you are going to give more weightage to 2011 population, it will be like punishing us. In last 20 or 30 years we have taken this population control measure, and you are incentivizing population control that was being done by, means population control measures these states did not take, so you are going to incentivize these states, right, their priority. It would not be appropriate again to say this as well, that UP or Bihar or Jharkhand or Madhya Pradesh did not do anything on this front. Actually this is directly related to the levels of literacy. If you come into these urban centers, you will find the total fertility rate. What is this total fertility rate as well, we'll discuss into this video itself when we'll discuss the criteria of the devolution. My one whole point is that as soon you come to the urban center, you will notice that the tendency of the educated people will completely change towards this population, right? They will have, so the total fertility rate, if you notice into the city or the educated states like Kerala, like Tamil Nadu, it will be somewhere 1.3 or 1.5. If you go to these states like Bihar where literacy is not high, states like UP or states like Madhya Pradesh, you will notice that total fertility rate will hover somewhere around 3.2, while the national average is somewhere 2.2 or 2.3. Their total fertility rate is hovering around, and it is directly related to the level of literacy or illiterate, because the level of literacy in the southern state or cities, metro cities is higher, and that's why you will see that this total fertility rate in these kind of areas or these kind of state will be lower than the total fertility rate into the state where literacy rate is not that higher, right? So that was the concern. So as soon these people or the commission will start functioning, as soon commission will start getting into their research, you will notice that various stakeholders will come into the picture, and they will try to influence their formula making, or they will try to influence their term of reference, right? So that in order to ensure that they do get, or their state does get more amount of funds. Thereafter, once they have studied, once they have done their research, thereafter they will submit their recommendation to the president, and this president ultimately, I mean union government ultimately, again as I already told you that the recommendation of this finance commission is not advisory in nature, but successive government has taken this care that because this body happens to be constitutional body, if not all the recommendation we can consider, then the caution that they do take, that not much tweaking that they do to the recommendation of these finance commission. So I hope this process of appointment to the report submission, the life of this commission, you will have clarity on. Now we are entering into the next video, next slide, and discuss the various provisions of this article 280, that who is going to be appointing authority, what is going to be the structure of this finance commission. So this finance article 280, in which this structure appointing authority, so it does have actually 3 clauses. The first clause you have on this slide, so let us discuss it clause by clause, this article 280. So article 280 first clause discusses about the appointing authority. So who is going to be the appointing authority for this commission? I hope you do have an idea on what is this council, what is this committee, and what is this commission, right? So council is nothing, council is just a elected body. What is this commission? So commission will be appointed body, and it will be appointed most of the time by the government, right? So as soon I say commission, it is going to be appointed body, appointed by the government, right? Now which part of the government? So president is going to be the appointing authority of this finance commission. So this appointing authority has been discussed into this first clause of article 280. Then it has discussed the structure. So the structure, it is going to be a multi-member body where you will have chairperson plus 4 members, chairperson CH plus 4 persons. So and all the persons is going to be appointed by the president. Now when it will be appointed, what will be its term? So it will be appointed every 5th year. Notice this word, every 5th year or at such earlier time as the president considered necessary. So here this is the trap point. It might be that in prelim statement that this finance commission is appointed every 5th year, or it can be, statement can be that it is appointed only after every 5 years. So that statement, if it is says that only after 5 year or every 5 year, then it will be wrong, because the president has been given this autonomy that as and when he considers necessary. So right now, suppose the second report of this finance commission will be submitted on 30th of October. One report it has already been already has submitted, for which union has already devolved funds. So for year 2020 and 2021, this finance commission has already submitted the report, and for the year 2021 to 2026, it is going to submit this report on 30th of October 2020. So suppose once it has submitted the report, thereafter its term will be over, and thereafter whatever recommendation that Council of Ministers has agreed, so those recommendations will be remain operational until 2026. Now a condition can be there that suppose 2 years down the line, in 2023, the center Council of Ministers starts feeling, or union government starts feeling that due to this lockdown or due to this corona crisis, if this corona crisis continued even beyond this year, suppose it exceeds, it crosses this 2020 as well, and it starts impacting this financial year of 2021 and 2022. In that situation, the economic activities will be subdued. There will be no corporation tax or very reduced corporation tax, because companies will, most of the, if you have knowledge of the economy, if you would have been noticing that what forms, means kahan se sabse zyada paisa aata hai, so it is the corporation tax which forms the largest part of this consolidated fund kitty of government. Now if the corporation tax starts squeezing, in that case you will find that union government may not be able to obey whatever recommendation that may have been given by the finance commission. So suppose finance commission right now for 2020-21 financial year has given recommendation of transfer of this 41% of the amount from the divisible pool from the union to state. Now suppose this recommendation sustains for 2021 and 2026 year as well. So might be 2 years down the line, if the economic scenarios due to this corona lockdown and everything, if economic activities remain subdued and union government does not find itself into the condition, in that situation union government can ask president to constitute another finance commission, right? Although the recommendation of finance commission was supposed to remain operational until 2026, the 15th finance commission's recommendation, but it might be that if the government is unable to service the recommendations of the 15th finance commission, in that situation union government or the president does have power that it can midway appoint a finance commission and can ask to consider this new economic reality and can ask them to give another advice, right? To give that, hey, can you take these kind of consideration into account and can give us a negotiated figure? So instead of 41%, perhaps the new finance commission may come up with some 22 or 30% of the transfer of devolution fund from the divisible pool of the union to the state. So that kind of hypothetical situation I have created just to make you understand that the president does have power to appoint finance commission even earlier to the 5 years as well. This kind of provision, when we were discussing the state finance commission into the panchayat chapter, so this kind of provision into the state finance commission was not available at the governor's disposal. Do you remember that point I had pointed out when we were discussing the state finance commission as well? State finance commission, perhaps article was 243I. So when we were discussing this 243I, I had clearly pointed out that state finance commission is constituted every 5 years. This point that it may be considered at the earlier time as well, this point was not available in relation to the state finance commission, although the functions of state finance commission in relation to the state is same, that is the function of union finance commission in relation to the union. So functions of the union finance commission and state finance commission is same. The only difference is this, that in relation to the union finance commission under article 280, for the constitution of union finance commission, this point, this at earlier, either 5 years or at earlier times as the president considers fit, so that point is not available in relation to the state finance commission. So I hope 3 points you will have clarity from the first clause, that is appointing authority, the structure, and thereafter the term. So either every 5 years or even before this 5 years if president thinks, right? So the first finance commission was constituted or instituted in 1951, and thereafter periodically every 5 years finance commission has been instituted. So in 14th finance commission had been instituted in 2014, and whose recommendation remained effective until 2020. For year 2020 to 25 you had this institution of 15th finance commission, but there was peculiar situation that happened with this 15th finance commission. And what was this peculiar situation? So you had various kind of reform, economic reform that this government had taken, and due to those economic or those structural reform that this union government had taken, the data that should be available at the disposal of finance commission to evaluate that what is going to be the size of consolidated fund of India in 2021 or 2022. So that supporting data, because of the structural reform like GST and other structural reform that government had done in 2019 and 2020, those it will take time, right? Whatever reform that this union government has initiated, right, to reflect that on ground, those things will take time, and that data was not available at the disposal of finance commission, and so finance commission sought for a extension of 1 year in their tenure. So what this time, what peculiarity or what uniqueness this time has happened, that there are 2 reports. So 1 year extension has been given to this finance commission. One report this finance commission has already produced into the February 2020 on the basis of Feb 2020, for the 1 year, right? This union government has already devolved the fund for 2021. So this financial year, the next report that this finance commission will submit by 30th of October 2020, on the basis of that report or recommendation for 2021 to 2026. Earlier it was supposed to be for 2025, right? Now the next report that it will submit will remain effective. Their recommendation, if agreed by the Council of Minister Union Government, that will remain effective until 2021 to 2026. So 2 reports on the basis of first report for the 1 year, and on the basis of second report it will be remain until operation for 20. Their recommendation will remain operational until 2021 to 2026. So that is one peculiar, that is one unique thing that has happened with this 15th commission. Although again I am emphasizing their recommendation was to remain operational only until 2025, but now since they have been given this extension, so that will remain operational, their recommendation will remain operational until 2026. One report they already have produced, and on the basis of that report one devolution has already taken place. Into this devolution, their recommendation was a devolution, vertical devolution of 41% of the fund. So these points we will discuss again. So 15th Finance Commission, although their term their recommendation was to remain effective till this point, but two reports, one report is to be remain effective until 2020-2021 and another till 2026. Earlier at the earlier situation as well it can be instituted. So in what all situation this Finance Commission can be instituted even before 5 years, that we already have discussed. The composition we already have discussed, that it is going to be chairman plus 4. Now we will discuss on the next slide what is going to be the qualification of these people, the chairman plus 4. So who are the people who can be appointed to this Finance Commission? So the chairman, the person who intends to be chairman, he or she needs to have wide experience into the public affairs. So that is one qualification, and this is very subjective qualification. Any person, it does not matter whether he does have knowledge of finances or not, if he does have experience in this public affair, so even a journalist like IAS officer, he or she can be appointed as a chairman to this body. Then the other 4 members, so the other 4 members need to possess any of these 4 qualification. Any, either he may have knowledge of economics, or he may have knowledge of administration and finance and accounts of the government, how accounting. So it can be any personnel of CAG or retired personnel of CAG who does have understanding of the finances, understanding of the administration, understanding of the accounts of the government, or who does have wide experience into the economic field or into the administrative field, or one person, any person who is qualified to be appointed in as judge of the High Court. So any person possessing any of these 4 qualification can be considered for the member, right? Chairman plus 4 member, right? So can be any person who is possessing any of these 4 qualification, he or she can be appointed as a member, and any person who is possessing this public affairs, who does have wide amount of public affairs experience, he or she can be appointed as a chairman to the this Finance Commission. So that is going to be the composition, and that is going to be the qualification. So I hope on the qualification front you will have an idea. So here, see, now what stage we have reached. So suppose President has already appointed the commission members, their chairman and the members, considering what qualification. Now President is going to define the term of reference. So now we are going to study this term of reference, and thereafter we will get into this commission study and research part. So what is going to be the term of reference? So what is this term of reference? I hope you already have clarity on. I need not to tell you what is this term of reference. So please try to understand before getting into this term of reference. There are 2 terms of reference that has been mentioned directly into the Constitution. Regarding the other terms of references, the President has been given power that he or she can define those terms of references. And why the President has been given power? Because every 5 years the economic reality changes. There will be new economic, I mean, it can't be, because Constitution is something that was made in 1950. Now the economic reality cannot always remain what was in 1950. So that autonomy has been given to the President, that depending on the economic reality prevailing into the country at that point of time, he may define other term of references. So what 2 term of references that are present into the Constitution? So first discuss those 2 term of references, and thereafter we will discuss that what is the term of reference, what are the other term of reference that this 15th commission was given by this President, right? When I am saying, it is not actually the President who defines the term of reference, but the central government or the Council of Minister of that time actually gives that term of reference. President actually formally, it is the authority that has been given to the President, and that's why it is said that the president is going to give, or president is going to define that term of reference. So formally in exam, for the purposes of exam, you will write that it is the president who is going to define the term of reference, but for the reality, for your understanding, you have to understand that it is actually the Council of Ministers. So what are those two term of reference that has been mentioned clearly into the Constitution? So the first clause reads, the distribution between the union and state of the net proceed of tax. Let me not read it, rather let me tell you the direct essence of this first term of reference. So actually it is going to talk about these two terminologies, that is horizontal distribution of fund, horizontal devolution of fund, sorry, and vertical devolution of fund, vertical devolution of fund. Now let us try to understand what is this vertical distribution of devolution of fund and what is this horizontal distribution of fund. So what you see, this is the kitty, this is the Consolidated Fund of India. Now in this Consolidated Fund of India, it will be whole of the income, whole of the revenue of the union. It will be money from the tax sources, it will have money from the non-taxes, it will have money from cess, it will have money from surcharges. Now let us try to understand. See, although this was the part of economy, but let me tell you, but I am not getting into the nuances, right? I will constrain myself only to the polity, relevant polity section or relevant constitutional polity section of this Finance Commission. So see, while deciding the formula or while devising the formula for this devolution of fund, not all the funds that has been charged by the union or raised by the union will be taken into the account while deciding the formula for the transfer. So funds like surcharge, funds like cess, and there are other funds as well that is not taken into the account by the Finance Commission, or rather that will not form part of divisible pool, right? What is this divisible pool? So divisible pool is going to be the fund, उसी में से सिर्फ फाइनेंस कमीशन जो है डिसाइड करेगा कि कितना पैसा, उसे ओनली फ्रॉम दैट डिवाइजेबल पूल दिस फाइनेंस कमीशन इज गोइंग टू डिसाइड दैट हाउ मच फंड the center or union government should set aside for the state, and that is vertical devolution. So suppose total into this total kitty 100 rupees is lying there into the Consolidated Fund of India. Out of that 100 rupees, suppose 20 rupees may this person, this Finance Commission cannot decide. Finance Commission does not have authority. Out of this 100 rupees, 20 rupees, Finance Commission does not have jurisdiction, because that will not form part of divisible pool. So out of 80 rupees into the Consolidated Fund of India, leaving aside this 20 rupees where Finance Commission does not have jurisdiction, because I was already told you that surcharge, cesses, or even GST. So this GST, regarding the GST decision will be taken not by the Finance Commission but by this GST Council, right? So setting aside this fund, suppose 80 rupees is lying into this divisible pool. So out of that 80 rupees, how much fund or how much rupees this union should set aside for the state, that will be called vertical devolution. So suppose it was decided that out of 80 rupees you have to set aside 40 rupees for the state, so that is called vertical devolution. Now what is this horizontal devolution? So out of this 40 rupees, now what amount should go to the UP, what amount should go to the Bihar, what amount should go to the Karnataka, what amount should go to what you call the other states. So you do have these 20 states. So what amount, depending on the economic reality, economic situation of that particular state, and the other measures as well, the criteria of devolution, what criteria that will go into deciding that what amount will go to UP, what amount will go to the West Bengal, that will look into. So that will be called the horizontal devolution. So I hope you have clarity on these two terminologies, that what is this vertical devolution, what is this horizontal. Let me repeat it. Out of the divisible pool, what amount this union should set aside for the state, that will be called vertical devolution. Now out of that setted aside fund, what amount should go to which state, that will be called horizontal devolution of fund. So I hope the first clause you will have clarity on. First clause talks about vertical devolution and horizontal devolution, that out of tax proceed that union does have, how much amount should set aside for states, and different state, how much amount different states will get. One point that I did not clarify, that while deciding this formula for horizontal devolution, no formula will be devised for transfer. So out of that kitty, out of that 40 rupees, when formula was being decided for the horizontal devolution, right, no formula this finance commission is going to devise regarding the transfer from union to union territories, because ultimately union territories are part of union, right? So the formula that this finance commission is going to devise for the horizontal transfer, that will be only for the state and not for the union territory. Maximum for the union territory that it can do is that in regards to the local bodies, right, what grants that this union should give to the local bodies, right, and that will not be only done in relation to the union territory. The grant that should be given to the local bodies, that will be decided in relation to these states as well, right? So that is one new information, that the finance commission, while deciding the formula for this horizontal distribution, leave aside these union territories, right? What amount should union give to these union territories, right? That amount it will not tell, or that amount it will not suggest. So I hope the first term of reference you will have clarity on. Now the second term of reference. So the second term of reference, that the finance commission has to decide the principle, it has to lay down the principle which should govern the grant in aid of the revenue of the state out of the consolidated fund of India. What see, under article 275 and under article 282 there is something called grant in aid, that is these grant in aid. I am not getting into the detail that what is this statutory grant of aid, what is this discretionary grant of aid, which article deals with this statutory grant of aid and which article deals with the discretionary. I am just letting you know that these two articles, article 275 and article 282, that deals with grant in aid. Now, so about this grant in aid, this union do gives some certain kind of grant besides this devolution of funds, right? Besides this devolution, some grant in aid is also provided by the union to various states. Now, what principle should decide that how much amount of grant in aid should be given to which state, that will also be decided by the finance commission, and that has been discussed into the second term of reference of this article 280. So these two term of reference has been mentioned into the constitution. Now the third term of reference, any other matter referred to the commission, and now it is because of this word any other that the president of the day or the council of minister of that day, right, gets autonomy to give certain additional, depending on the new economic reality or new economic situation. Like we do have this demonetization that has happened in last 3 or 3.5 years, from which our economy is still recovering. You have impacts of GST that is still being felt, right? The recovery rate in GST is has not reached to the extent what had been envisioned in 2015-2016. So you have these tremors of GST still being felt into the industrial corridor. In light of these, you will find that the Central Council of Minister of that day will direct President to issue another kind of term of reference. So what are the other term of references that this government has given to the 15th Finance Commission? So other term of reference that has been given by the president to this 15th Finance Commission. So 15th Finance Commission has been asked to review the current status of finance, their deficit, debt levels and the cash balances that is lying with the Union Consolidated Fund of India and various states Consolidated Fund of India. What kind of fiscal discipline that various state and union is exercising, and depending on the fiscal discipline, depending on their debt level, depending on their deficit, this Union Finance Commission has been advised to figure out their formula. Then other things that impact on the fiscal position of union government on account of enhanced devolution of funds following 14th Finance Commission. So 14th Finance Commission का क्या recommendation था? 14th Finance Commission's recommendation was to devolve 42% of the fund to the state, and the union government has followed it after 2015 until 2020. Prior to that, 13th Finance Commission, if you see, 13th Finance Commission का recommendation was only to transfer 32% of the fund. Now suddenly ये 10% का change आया, राइट? तो उसकी वजह से यूनियन का कंसोलिडेटेड फंड ऑफ इंडिया विल बी स्क्वीज्ड right? Not squeeze, it will be squeezed, right? So union government this time has asked that whatever recommendation that you gave us last time to transfer 42% of the funds, right, we have followed that year by year. Now you have to consider that as well. Now the another term of reference, union government's view to promote goals of New India 2022, right? So under this New India 2022, union government have launched various solar program, union government have launched various developmental schemes. So that all these things incur expenditure, a lot of expenditure. So union government has said that whatever recommendation or whatever formula that you are going to devise for the devolution, you have to keep, because ultimately जो development कर रहा है union, right, that is happening in state itself, right? So you do not, ultimately what indication by defining this term of reference, what union is indicating is, union is giving a indication that whatever formula that you are coming with, right, at least constrain yourself to keep your devolution formula either below this 42%, or if you cannot go below 42%, at least do not increase this, because when you are citing that this is our financial situation, this is our plan, so ultimately you are eluding this finance commission that you have not to cross this 42%. Although again I am saying that this finance commission is a constitutional body, it need not to consider any kind of allusion, although yes, they have to investigate whatever term of reference that the president, and this when I am saying union government is issuing, not the union government, actually union government, but the president. So whatever term of reference that this president is issuing, they need to study that, or they need to have research on those term of references. But then if there is any indirect indication not to increase their devolution to the state, they need not to, they are not bound to follow. This finance commission need not to, or is not bound to follow their any kind of indication. Then another indication that this, or another term of reference that president has issued to this 15th finance commission, that impact of GST including payment of compensation for possible loss of revenue for 5 years. So for any possible, if you have been reading or tracking this GST, so for loss of revenue to these industrialized state, that loss has to be compensated by the union until 2023, right? So union उनको पैसा दे रहा है. So whatever formula, again indication is being given to this union finance commission, that whatever formula you are going to devise, right, you have to take this care into mind, that we are already funding these industrialized state like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu for the GST losses that they are incurring because of sudden transfer from the previous taxation policy to this new GST reform, right? So there are other term of references as well, that while devising your formula, you should also take into mind the effort that has been made by various state in expansion and deepening of taxes, right? So whichever state which are very efficient in recovering their taxes, right, so those state you need to consider more, and the state which are not tax efficient, which have not devised new mechanism, new areas where people can be taxed, so those state can be punished. Another, effort and progress made in moving towards a replacement rate of the population growth. Then progress made in sanitation, solid waste management, and bringing in behavioral change to end open defecation. So whichever state that has concentrated more on sanitation, those states needs to be incentivized. So while deciding the formula, you need to take care on those state which has given, or which has invested too much on this solid waste management or on sanitation. Progress made in increasing tax, non-tax revenue, or promotion of savings. So these kind of practices, or direct benefit transfer in implementation of any scheme, if any state has done all these things, you need to be considerate towards those states. So these are the term of reference, and this is what is called, actually by now, after having read all these things, I hope at least now you will have an idea on term of reference, means in what areas this finance commission or what point this finance commission needs to investigate or study, what are the things, what are the good practices that various states. So through these good practices, actually what state are being encouraged is that to adopt these kind of good practices, that if you do adopt these kind of good practices, you are going to be rewarded for these kind of practices. If you are not bringing these reform into the taxation, if you are not deepening the source of this taxation, then probably you will lose some share from the center. If you are focusing more on sanitation, if you are focusing more on the forest and ecology, then if you are focusing more on these population control measure by this replacement rate, right, then you are going to be rewarded. But if you are ignoring these things, then you are going to be punished in some way. So these are the term of reference. So whatever we have read in relation to the term of reference in last 3 slides, this has been here, it has been put up into these 5 concised formats. So you can read it when you will have PDF. Now here, what stage we have reached? So President had appointed the commission, President had also defined the term of reference. Now Commission, looking into this term of reference, after having researched on the term of reference, Commission as part of its study and Commission as part of its research, they are going to devolve that formula, they are going to devise that formula, that what parameter, what should be the parameter for the vertical transfer. While deciding this vertical devolution of funds or formula for vertical devolution, we have to take care unions fund, right, what funds that unions disposal, because ultimately it is going to, union is going to devolve the fund, right. So they will assess or they will evaluate the status of union fund, and thereafter it will evaluate that what is going to be the formula. After we have directed that okay, you have to set aside this 40 rupees for various state, what is going to be the formula for the horizontal distribution of or horizontal devolution of funds, right. So as part of their study, as part of their research, they will devise these formulas. Now let us move to the next slide and let us see what formula that has been devised by the 15th Finance Commission, or what parameter that this 15th Finance Commission has taken into account for the vertical devolution and horizontal devolution. So see, as far as vertical devolution is concerned, vertical devolution, this 15th Finance Commission has recommended to remain at 41%. If you remember, into the 14th Finance Commission, 14th Finance Commission has recommended for the transfer of 42% of the funds from the divisible pool. You have to be very, very careful what I am speaking. So 42% of the funds, 42% of what? Whole of the consolidated fund of India? No, 42% of the funds which will lie into the divisible pool, right. What forms part of divisible pool, what will not form part of the divisible pool, that idea means some remote idea I already have given, but that is part of economy, and right now I am not getting into economy. So for 15th Finance Commission, as far as vertical devolution is concerned, has already given its recommendation that 1% lesser than the previous Finance Commission, that is 41% you need to devolve, union need to devolve for the state. And now what parameter will play out of this 41% of the fund? What much fund will go to the UP, what much fund will go to the Bihar, what much fund will go to another 26 state? That formula we are going to devise. So 14th Finance Commission has taken into account these parameters. What is this income distance? So to the income distance, weightage of 50% had been given. Population of 1971 had been given weightage of 17.5. Then population of 2021 had been given weightage of 10%. Then area had been given weightage of 15%, and the forest cover had been given weightage of 7.5%. This time there have been some tweaking. Population of 1971 has not been given weightage. Rather, instead to compensate the loss that southern state will get by not consideration of population of 1971 and consideration of 2011 population, a new terminology, that is what is this demographic performance, right. So that has been taken into account to compensate the losses that the southern state will get by considering this formula of population. what losses I am talking about? So see, 1971 का जब population consider होता है तो it is the southern state which tends to benefit, but if the finance commission is considering or giving weightage, more weightage to the population of 2021, so 2021 में southern state does have less population because they have implemented this population control measure, while states like UP, states like Bihar, states like Madhya Pradesh, which did not consider because they had their own priority, being poor, being illiterate state, they had their own priority to improve the lifestyle, to focus more on this literacy factor, so perhaps they could not consider these population control measures, right? So they, if you are giving this 15th Finance Commission is giving more weightage to this population of 2011 instead of 1971, so it is these state UP, Bihar, these northern state stands to gain. So to compensate, in order to compensate the losses that the southern state are going to get by considering 2011 population and ignoring this 1971 population, that has been compensated by considering this new parameter. This new parameter had not been considered for 14th Finance Commission. So what is this demographic performance? So in demographic performance, educational outcome, स्टेट किस स्टेट ने एजुकेशन में कितना वो किया है, इन्वेस्ट किया है, देन हेल्थ आउटकम, देन वन मेजर डिटर्मिनेंट वाज टोटल फर्टिलिटी रेट, TFR, right? What is this TFR? So a woman in productive age, what is this productive age? 15 to 49. So how many child on an average a woman of a particular state on an average is producing while being in 15 to 49 state? So in TFR you will notice that it is the states like Kerala, it is the state like Tamil Nadu, almost all southern state, even states like Delhi, educated state like Delhi, you will find that इनका TFR जो होगा वो lower होगा, it will be in range of 1.3 to 1.5, while states like Bihar, their TFR will stand to 3.2, 3.1, 3.0. The national average of TFR is somewhere 2.2. So more the TFR, lesser amount you are going to get. So here states like UP, states like Bihar, on account of their larger population is going to benefit, but here on account of more TFR, total fertility, they are standing to lose. So the losses that the southern state were getting on account of lesser population by giving, or the finance commission that has given weightage to 2011 population, that loss is being compensated here. Another parameter change, if you notice, the 14th finance commission had given weightage to this forest cover 7.5. This time a holistic approach has been taken, a new parameter has been evolved by considering whole of the forest and ecology, and that has been given weightage of 10 to another parameter, that is tax effort, right? So the tax effort was not there earlier. See, no consideration was given by the 14th Finance Commission to the tax effort. What tax effort, what a particular state has done to bring the tax efficiency, right? What a particular state has done towards deepening or broadening this method of taxing, right? So those kind of reform whichsoever state has implemented, they are likely to benefit. So to income distance, a weightage of 45 has been given. What is this income distance? So the distance from the richest state to the poorest state, right? So Goa happens to be per capita GSDP, if I talk about, so Goa happens to be the richest state right now. Now how much distant you are, so if you are happen to a state like Bihar, which is standing way below this status of Goa, then that state is going to get more of the money from the finance commission allocation. To the population, weightage of 15 has been given, more the population, more the money. Then to the area has also been given some weightage, 15 weightage, so more the area, more size of the Maharashtra. So on this count, on the population and on the area count, it is the states like Maharashtra, UP, Rajasthan, this bigger state, Bihar, right, UP, Madhya Pradesh. So these state on these two counts are going to get more of the funds. So this was about horizontal distribution, that on these accounts, so this whole of of the point collectively translate into 100 points, and these are the things, these are the weightage that you have to remember, and these weightage will come into the exam whenever a question is framed, right? And make sure that you remember these weightage, because recently 15th Finance Commission had submitted the report, and these things, Finance Commission role comes their role comes only every 5 years. So because they have produced the the report, right, and in 2021 2022, right, there will be no Finance Commission. So make sure, because this is going to be a current affair topic, so there may be possibility of this question being asked. So make sure that what has been the weightage, right, what has been the order of weightage, which parameter, whether income distance, whether area, or this forest ecology, or the tax effort. So order of that this parameter, you need to remember that which particular parameter has been given maximum of the weightage, right? So those things you need to remember. So this was about the horizontal distribution of the fund. This is in graphical format, right? So most of the 45% of the criteria has been, or 45% of the weightage has been given to the income distance, then 15% each to the population and the area, then 12.5% has been given to the demographic performance, then 2.5%, here it is not 3% but 2.5% has been given to the tax effort, and 10% has been given to the forest and ecology. So same repetition, just in the graphical format. So I hope you will have an idea on this as well. Now we are moving to the next slide. So this is nothing but report about the vertical devolution. So 11th Finance Commission had given recommendation for the devolution of 29.5%, then 1% was increased into the 12th Finance Commission, 13th Finance Commission 32%, 14th Finance Commission 42%, and this Finance Commission has given recommendation for the vertical devolution of 41%. Following the horizontal distribution formula that this time this commission has given, the UP is going to receive most of the fund, that is 17.93% of the fund. So if center has set aside 100 rupees for the different states, so out of that 100 rupees, UP is going to get almost 18 rupees. Bihar is likely to receive 10 rupees. MP, so these are the top 5 recipient of this particular year. Otherwise, see, as far as other nuances of the Finance Commission is concerned, you need to consider, you need to read it from the economic topic. This is not complete. There are other things as well that Finance Commission has done. There are 3 states out of these states as well. There are states like Karnataka, there are states like Mizoram, which has got less amount of fund from the previous area, from the previous year. So those kind of nuances you will, I have just covered polity angle of the Finance Commission, and in some areas I have crossed that as well, but I cannot, because this Finance Commission itself, its recommendation itself can constitute 1.5 hours of the lecture. So right now, because I do have limitation, and so I am not getting into those things. As far as grant in aid recommendation has been given by this Finance Commission, so for these areas grant in aid recommendation has also been given by this Finance Commission. Again, due to shortage of time, I am not getting into the details, right? So with this, we are wrapping up this lecture. One last topic, that is advice. Finance Commission recommendation is not something that can be imposed on the union government. It entirely depends on the union government whether they want to consider the recommendation of the Finance Commission or not. Although a healthy practice as part of our democracy, post-independence, a healthy practice has been developed where most of the recommendation, again I am saying not all, but most of the recommendation of the Finance Commission has been considered, right? So that was about advisory role. Next, first MCQ, second MCQ, third MCQ, and this is the fourth. So these are the 4 MCQ that I expect you to attempt. So with this, we are wrapping up this lecture on Finance Commission until we come up with the next lecture on National Commission on SC, and National Commission on ST, and National Commission on BC. Till then, bye bye.